The ANC's highly contested 2017 Nasrec conference has featured in proceedings at the state capture inquiry. It's been revealed 19 million rand was withdrawn from the State Security Agency for operations at the conference. Some members of the media have also been implicated. A secret witness, only identified as Ms. K, told the Commission that journalists received millions from the agency. The money was to counter negative publicity against former President Jacob Zuma. Barry Bateman, following proceedings, he joins us now live. So Barry, what role did the SSA exactly play in the 2017 Nasrec conference?
Yeah, good afternoon, Shahan. Well, it is a very concerning role that they allegedly play. And you just touched on there, 19 million rand, which was withdrawn in cash days before that conference got underway. And some of the money dispersed to individuals. There was a note as part of the evidence which was found by Ms. K and her team, which showed that at least 5 million rand of that went to a person identified as Kingmaker. Now, any idea who that might be? But what we know from that conference in itself is that it was Cyril Ramaphosa going up against Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. NDZ was known to be on the faction that was supportive of former President Jacob Zuma. We've heard the evidence this week that talks about the establishment of a parallel covert structure within the SSA, which was set up purely for the benefit of former President Jacob Zuma, and that unit was called Special Operations. Well, we know now that it was Special Operations that was working at the ANC conference. But take a listen to what Ms. K had to say as to why this was a particular problem in this instance.
It would not be peculiar in general to have SSA members at, because we do have special events, and this would be an event that would be managed to a certain extent by SSA in a supporting role. But what stands out for me when we looked at this is that CDSO had been purportedly closed in 2016 or early 2017, and most of the members of CDSO, especially the co-workers and even SSA members who were working at CDSO, actually had to go home, and they remained unplaced. I think they're still unplaced even today. Yet, when it was time for Nasrec, according to witness accounts of people that were part of this, they were called from home to partake in whatever this operation was, for them to be present at Nasrec.
So, Barry, names of journalists who allegedly received millions from the State Security Agency might just be revealed. Tell us more.
Yeah, I think there's probably some burning ears today, Shahan. How we got to this evidence, it was about this Project Wave, which we heard was all about the infiltration of the media to try and sway public opinion by planting favorable stories about the country and former President Jacob Zuma. Earlier in the week, we had heard that the company that was involved in this was African News Agency, Iqbal Survey's outfit. But ANA had issued a statement earlier in the week saying there was nothing untowards about this. They had provided multimedia training and other services to the State Security Agency officials. What we heard today was that, in fact, there were two invoices submitted by ANA to the State Security Agency, but not to the SSA in itself, but directly to Thulani Dlomo, who was head of Special Operations, which was that unit set up specifically for President Jacob Zuma. But we also heard, and this takes it a little step further, that there is a list of journalists whose names they are aware of at ANA who were actually being paid by the State Security Agency. But there's more to it. Take a listen to what evidence leader Pretorius had to say.
There is evidence in the bundle that individuals within the media received money as part of Project Wave. That evidence in its detail I would prefer to consider and place before the Chair at a later stage, once we've considered its import and what we need to do to follow the rules. If that's an order, Chair. We have a number of positions that received monies in the media. but we just have to consider whether giving that money would identify the person, and if it identifies the person, we need to issue notice.
I can't wait to see that list. So the Commission has also heard about a parallel security vetting process. The question, of course, is, did it undermine security within the State Security Agency?
The simple answer, Shahan, it certainly did. It is quite remarkable what we're hearing here. Here is the State Security Agency at the pinnacle of the country's intelligence services, meant to protect national security. But you were employing people who didn't actually go through any of the proper processes. Thulani Dlomo, who was heading up the special operations, not only did he recruit individuals into this organization, but he was overseeing this vetting process which did not comply with the prescripts, and he was also issuing the fake security clearance certificates to these individuals. And we later learned from other evidence that these individuals who didn't pass all those requirements were then being unlawfully issued with SSA firearms, many of which were simply not recovered. So it's a real mess up entirely in the way this whole process and a threat. But we heard examples of how this failure and the type of individuals that were inducted into this organization, of what impact this had. Take a listen.
The running of illegal counterintelligence operations that were in contravention of the Constitution, the Intelligence Services Act, and the agency's operational directives. 9.7.2, receiving millions of rand in cash from members of the CDSO for a number of years, thus perpetuating fraud, theft of SAA funds and resultant illicit financial flows. 9.7.3, receiving caches of SSA firearms and ammunition, including automatic rifles, which remain unaccounted for. These firearms were signed out of the SSA armory by CDSO members and handed over to individuals considered cleared by the parallel vetting outfit. And 974, parallel paramilitary training of SSA, CDSO, and so-called co-workers using SSA firearms. The SSA armory was provided with neither with proof of these individuals, trainers, nor the trainees' firearm competence certificates.